Saving Abel is a southern rock band with catchy hooks and heavy riffs founded by Jared Weeks and Jason Null. Their first single, Addicted, broke onto the scene, climbing its way quickly into a crossover hit from mainstream rock to Billboard Hot 100 and the Top 40. Now, with millions of sales under their belt, it's easy to see how their self-titled debut album became a certified multi-platinum record. Now, their debut album delivered 2 more number 1 singles with 18 Days and Drowning Face Down across multiple charts and solidified this band's name in rock. Now, the band also has over 2 billion global digital streams, and their new single, Baptize Me, just released with over 200,000 streams on Spotify and growing. With us today is lead singer Jared Weeks, who left the band in 2013, fought multiple addictions, and found his way to sobriety. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Jared Weeks of Saving Abel to the show. Welcome, Jared.
Hey there, man. Thanks for having me today, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Man, hey, it's great talking to rock and roll royalty, and that's what you are, right?
Well, hearing you read some of that introduction there, like, I haven't heard some of those facts in a while, and I didn't even know about the 2 billion, I guess I'm just always busy, But yeah, it was blowing my mind. I was like, really? Wow.
Well, that's quite a bit of popularity when you get into the billion mark.
Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable for me, man. Hashtag grateful,
Well, you left Saving Abel in 2013. What made you leave?
Well, actually, I was handed the keys to the kingdom at a young age. My first flight was from Memphis, Tennessee to LA to sign a record deal. So obviously we hit it hard, and it got to the point in 2013 where, I couldn't survive 24 hours a day. I couldn't survive without being high or drunk or some sort of mind-altering substance, I just didn't have the tools for it, really. It is pretty crazy when your life's turned up to that volume, anything you want at any time. But yeah, so I left and I moved to Nashville, tried to start the solo artist thing, and ended up going through therapy for a few years and healing with a bunch of stuff that I needed to deal with. So obviously when isolation came around, Jason and I started talking again. It was when Brent Smith and Zach Myers released the acoustic album they did, the double album. I was sitting there listening to it. I was like, man, Jason and I have a million of these songs, that we wrote even before Saving Abel. So I kind of called him and was talking to him about it. And we got back into the studio with our producer, Skid, and one thing led to another. And it got to the point where I called Jason and I said, Jason, I'm ready to take my life back. And he said, man, I've been waiting for you to say that for years. So here we are.
So you left Saving Abel in 2013. But then you were going to embark on a solo career. Besides the addictions, did you have the big head at the same time?
Well, no, I've been told, but I've always been, humble, or at least I've been told that, should I say. But when I got here into Nashville and I started doing the Nashville writer thing, I got to write with the biggest writers in Nashville. It was kind of cool, to be, there's a line of people waiting and it's kind of cool to go ahead and get in, So maybe that big head thing had a key factor playing maybe. But, I got to write with Jonathan Singleton and so many others, and to me, it was just, the same thing over and over. So, verse, chorus, go take a lunch, verse, chorus, and some folks like that. But for me, doing that 2 and 3 times a day often, I felt like I was writing the same song, so it's, for me, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And obviously I hadn't even gotten to the problems in my life, or at least dealing with them. So it was sort of a negative circle, not so good time for me when I started here in Nashville. Obviously, with lots of consistency and work, and I'm totally proud of all that stuff. But, I'm proud of who I am, and I love myself even more today. It was just a kind of a weird time in my life. I really didn't know what was going on.
Well, as a musician, I mean, what was it? What's the environment like comparing LA to Nashville?
Oh man, I don't know if you want to ask this Southern boy that. Just being transparent. L.A. It's like everybody there is somebody, and they expect something. And I'm more of a, let's get in the room and let's vibe it out and let's create from that energy. And some of even the people here, they walk into a room to write a song. Well, they already have the idea, and that's the song you're writing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how it is. Which, some people might like to work that way. But for me, the creating and working off the energy that's in the room, even if it's just one sentence that I have in my head, you kind of throw it out there and see who picks up on it. If nobody picks up on it, you go to the next. But there was a slight difference between LA and Nashville. We're more, Southern country boy type. Even New York, though, sometimes you're up there playing and you finish a song and it's epic. And, sometimes I've seen it, the crowd just kind of looks at you and they're like, what? We showed up. You want us to clap too? Stuff.
That's a hard crowd.
Yeah, it really is, though, man. But doing it for years, I finally figured it out. The connection, especially with L.A., but New York as well. But Nashville. I only grew up 3 hours south of here in Mississippi. So Nashville was always the big city when we were kids. We're going to the big city. But yeah, I totally love it here, man. I'm still sort of close to home as well. But I found myself here.
Well, you've battled multiple addictions, even mental illness. I mean, I've even read where you were drinking a fifth of vodka every day.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about some of those battles and then the journey that led you to find victory over them?
So when I moved to Nashville, when we first got here, I just quit saving Abel, just finished singing with Hinder. And I got here and I wanted my life to get started, So I started doing all the writing. And as I mentioned before, I didn't really vibe it that way. So as I kept going, I still worked with the same producer, Skid Mills. I've been with him almost 20 years. And he moved to Nashville, which is also another reason why I followed him here. But as we were going, I had great songs. But really, I just don't think it was a time in my life where even if they had done something that I could move forward, honestly, I still didn't have the tools to deal with, just reality. So one of the things that led me, there, I literally was drinking a fifth of vodka a day. Sometimes I would wake up just to take a drink just so I could go back to sleep. That's how I dealt with life. That's how I dealt with the problems that I hadn't dealt with. We've all got childhood trauma, some sort of childhood trauma, something that makes us change our life in some sort of way that creates who we are now. And obviously, I had some things that I had to go through therapy on. I did some EDMR sessions. I had a great therapist. Her name was Kelsey, and she was so good. She ended up leaving where she was to open up her own practice. So I'm still cheering her on. But she really helped me find some of the things that I needed to heal with. And I see this at my shows all the time. I'm up there singing and I'm rocking out, and I'm a real big empath. Like, it's almost a superpower. I just don't know how to use it that way yet. But, I could walk into a room of 100 people and I could find that one person, and I see that at my shows, people that just the looks on their faces, people that forget how valuable they are, how worthy they are of a good life. They carry around a weight that they don't even know. They just think that life is just this negative circle of course bad things are happening, and it's always going to be this way, and this is all that ever happens to me. For me, I've been on both sides. I've been up here and I've been all the way down here. And one of the things that I learned about myself in isolation, to be the change that you want to see in the world. You've always heard that quote. Well, to do that, you've got to look directly center inside your soul. And you have to look at those things that you're not proud of, those things that you're ashamed of, those things that you wish you could just forget about. And you have to sit down with those things. You got to invite them to tea, and you talk. You figure out inside yourself, how do we heal from this? And as I started healing with this thing, with these things, I just felt my vibration in my body just raising, and it was like, I'm a firm believer, that if you chase your passion, what makes you feel alive in this world, that the universe, it wants nothing more than for you to do that. And if you start following it, it will start opening doors, and you can't put any expectations on it, because that if you put expectations on it, that's how it's going to turn out, or it's not going to turn out. If you just let it go, the universe, the law of attraction will bring it to you. But I've really learned a lot since, therapy. And I do talk about mental health a lot at my shows, about being sober. I don't want people to think that, I'm judging them if they're not sober. So I say things like, if that's your thing, you do it. I said, I want you to make your heart happy. I want you to be happy. So I'm not judging you. I said stuff like that just quit serving a purpose in my life. And I'm really glad that I had the right people around me that supported me through, like my wife and my friends like Jared Blake. He's season 1 of The Voice, and Big Vinny. He was on The Biggest Loser. Both of my best pals, man. They helped me and they supported me, and went in, and I love who I am now. I love this journey a whole lot more, and it all started with a little bit of being the change that you want to see in the world, healing from the things that you're ashamed of or guilty of or just not proud of. And the consistency and the work that you put into there, it just brings joy into your life. And that's what I'm addicted to now. Pure concentrated joy.
Now,
so I just really want to.
I love that, Jared. And what was it like now when you're on stage performing compared to the days when you were on stage and you were dealing with all those addictions? What is it like for you now to be before an audience clean?
Well, now I remember it. There for a while, getting into the arenas and the Nickelbacks, Avenged Sevenfold, the Shinedown, all of that, it was very big for me. And we were young and green at the time. They sort of just threw us in there with the best of them, So we were a very good adaptive. We picked up really quick. When I started using the most drugs was on the Nickelback tour, because from the stage to the merch table, security would walk us there, and people grab, they pull, they rip your necklaces off, and a few different times I would run away screaming and hide under a stairwell. So I never so I started using drugs, because when you're high, none of that stuff matters. We were really young, so obviously I'm glad we went through all that, but life's just better now.
Back in 2021, you called Jason Null. Was there always an underlying open invitation for you to come back to the band?
Jason says, yeah. Jason said, yeah, there is, or there, now that I'm back, there was. In fact, when I called and told him I was ready to take my life back, he said, I've actually been waiting on you to say that for a few years now. And that's the one thing about Jason and I. When I left the band, it was amicably, however you say that word.
Agreed upon.
It was agreed upon. And we also throughout those years, shared a publishing company, where we split everything, down the middle. And, we always remained true to that. And I think that actually owning that publishing company together always kept it open for our relationship to get better. And obviously it has, all in good time or in due time. Jason and I, that's a 20-year relationship, man. And I say that to this day, I'm proud as heck to be up there on stage playing the songs that he and I wrote some of them 20 years ago. That's such a really good, I almost well up a little bit thinking about it, because I'm really grateful, but that's just amazing to me that people are still listening.
Well, what was it like to hook up with Jason again and sit down and write new material? What was that like?
It was amazing because it made me feel like who I was then when we were creating Saving Abel. It made me feel that I rediscovered the passion and that raw element that we had, growing up in this. For a while there, I had lost it, with the depression and the alcohol and the drugs and all that. You get lost up here. You sometimes forget where you're going, and that which makes us feel worthless. But it was amazing to actually get back in there, and these songs, like, they kind of just came out of us both naturally. And what ended up happening with Jason and I and Skid, that's our tripod, that's our formula for 20 years. We ended up going in a little deeper to the Saving Abel and what we were discovering, and a little more rock and roll, a little bit heavier, a little more rock driven. I brought my drummer with me when I was, when I was out of Saving Abel. I had my own band. I had a drummer. His name was Dave Matthews. I brought him with me over to Saving Abel, and he is one of the key factors. He is a rock drummer, but he is one of the key factors that helped push that out of us. And this is what I always wanted Saving Abel to sound like. So proud,
Well, what's the inspiration behind the brand new single Baptize Me? I love that song.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Plain and simple, that song was written in a point in my life where I was taking my life back. Like, we're the ones that write our stories. But don't ever forget that you're writing it. You can be the hero in your own story. That's how valuable and that's how worthy and that's how powerful we are as just beings. And that's what that song's about, about taking my life back, about, it says at the ending, it says, baptize me in the water. You can save yourself. That's that part where you got to stand up and you got to fight for yourself. Fight to figure out, how am I going to love myself today? And if you're consistent in that, man, I'm telling you, like, look at the smile on my face. Like, I enjoy being who I am now, and that's what that song is really about. It's get off that black couch. And I call it the black couch because that's where I sat for so many years in depression and drinking. And I finally got up, I dusted myself off, I made a decision in my head, and I kept pushing forward. Like, I'm the person I prayed I was, 5 years ago. And that's something I'm proud of. But mainly Baptize Me is about, it says, baptize me in the water. It says, whoa, crawling my way out and ain't going back again. And then it says, I ain't getting out alive. It's time to live again. And at that point, is when I first started feeling like I'm living my life right now. I'm turning into who I want to be. I am strong. I am powerful. I believe in myself. And I just love that's what we're writing about these days, instead of girls and parties and things like that, like our, Addicted or whatever. That was pretty edgy. But, we've got a new message, and it's inspiration, it's positivity, it's support. And, we're sticking to it, man. We're just we're a different band now.
When Saving Abel hit the airwaves with the breakout hit Addicted, are you amazed that your return song is called Baptize Me? It's almost poetic.
Well, I guess I wasn't thinking about it from that perspective, and Kia's perspective is everything. But I guess, no, I didn't ever think about it that way. I think that's kind of cool, though. And to me, that's the universe going, see, I told you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're right where you need to be. You're doing great, That is kind of full circle, though. That fills my heart.
Yeah. Well, what's been the fans' response to the new single?
So we've been playing 4 or 5 of our new tunes, and of course, before every song, we say this is a new song, and we play it. But since we've released that song, this song right here is our new single, and people just immediately start cheering and clapping for it. And that was something that I've never recognized before until one night I said it, and it was so loud that I couldn't ignore it. I was like, I turned around and looked at Dave, my drummer. I was like, you hear that? Like that? Whoa, So it's been a great response from the crowd, man. And to watch people already singing the lyrics, it just fills my heart. It just makes me so glad for where we are and the song itself.
Well, it must feel great to know that your fan base has always been there.
They have, and mainly it's because they're like us. We are them. We are a blue collar band. We work our butt off just like they do. And we talk to our fans. We go out there and we conversate and we take pictures and we give them, because they come to be connected to us. And from the stage and some of the things I say, I see who I affect. And I say every time I go on, I say, just let my words help somebody. Like, you don't got to do this or that. Just let my words help somebody. And I tell people that when we meet them after the show. And I can't tell you how many people come to me and they say things like, I just wanted to tell you, thank you for talking about your mental health. Thank you for not keeping quiet like everybody else. I've been struggling. I need help. And then that's my moment where I can see, like, I want to be the bridge between those people. And then that's why I'm here. Yeah, the music, but that's my goals, is to help those folks.
Well, you have a new mission.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And and I've heard this from other bands that I've talked to, where for them, and you said it, connecting with your fans, maybe it's a meet and greet before the show, or it's definitely meeting with all of them afterwards, saying thank you, saying hello, taking selfies with them, and all sorts of things. And it means a lot to the fan base, but you have an extra element, a mission, like you said, a bridge, because you've lived that life of being so far down. You came up out of the water, as the song Baptize Me says, and now you're able to share, what it's like to be clean, sober, and always in the moment.
I'm really grateful for the journey, and I'm glad to be here, but it does bring up a few tears because I fought really hard to be here, and I'm proud.
Well, so I'm proud of you.
You can do it too,
Well,
it is possible.
Well, I've talked to a lot of people that have gone through adversity, found victory through multiple addictions and things that are so horrible to mention that happen to people, but some, bad things happen to good people. And you have the heart, you got the spirit, it comes out of you. I can tell just by looking at you, you are so grateful to have, a second chance of truly living life like it's meant to be lived. And not necessarily, being a rock star on stage, but, being that example and being that overcomer that you can share with everyone you meet.
I just want to show folks that they are worthy and they are valued and that it is possible. I used to, and I would hear people talk about it, growing up as I was a user. It's just, it is possible. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. But now knowing, I'm like, I get it. If I can do it, obviously, if I can do it, I'm like, you can do it. But one of my favorite songs on this new SA album, it's a song called From the Damage. And it was the first time I ever written a song like this. But I'd been searching for this song since I came back. And in fact, we even wrote one called From, and we didn't like it. We kind of just tossed it to the side. So I kept going through these ideas. One night I was asleep. And Nikki was getting ready for bed, brushing her teeth and stuff. So I passed out for, probably 20, 30 minutes. And I woke up and I wrote down these words, the entire chorus to this song. It's a song called From the Damage. And it says, redemption came under my wings and lifted me up so I could see all the other things that made it harder for me to fly above the wreckage. But look what came from the damage. That entire thing, I wrote that down, and on my birthday, October 19th, we went in the studio and we found it. And it's one of my favorite songs. It's really positive and motivational, but it's exactly true.
The heaviest of rock riffs.
Worth it,
Well, yeah, even with the heaviest of rock riffs, we can find inspiration, positivity, great messages that will resonate with fans and people who listen to the songs. and I love your emotion. I mean, I love your heart, and I love your excitement of being clean and
I feel good being this excited. I can't I can't describe it.
Well, when are we going to see a EP, or are we going to see a full length album from Saving
You're going
Abel?
to see a full length album. We've got about 2 or 3 songs left that we have to record, but we've got to mix one of them, and it'll be done. We've got a new single coming up. It's either mid-July or at the end of July, but we've already got it ready. We're filming the video and stuff now for it, so we're kind of setting it ready. We're going to have a radio campaign on it, so we're doing the whole 9 yards, and we're going to push this. So I'm pretty proud of that. Our next single too. It's called Fire, but we'll talk about that, I guess, at a later date.
Hey, Jared, I'm looking forward to it. And what do you and Saving Abel hope to accomplish in 2023 and beyond?
2023. I mean, obviously, coming from my standpoint, I want to have. I want to make our show better. But for the band, I try to live my life to as where they live every day. They want to get the best version of themselves as well. But what I see us doing is we're booked for the rest of the year. We're doing lots of one-off shows, not tours. But as it comes down into November and where we stand, and starting next year, we've got bigger goals, bigger arenas, and bigger dreams. Things that I know that are possible. You know, I already said yes. I claimed them. Let it go. Now I just got to get there. I'm driving. We'll see where the universe takes us. But I got full faith that my dream and my idea and my machine, to help folks, it's gonna happen. There's no way it's not. It's just going to. I'll manifest it. That's how bad I want to help folks.
Well, and I can see, for 2024, Saving Abel, being back to all the massive, the large music festivals across the country and beyond.
Except then, when that we'll have pyro. Yes. That stuff's expensive for us now, but then we'll have pyro. Guarantee it.
Well, I tell you one thing. I know that this new album coming out is literally going to be a fireworks show for all of the fans. And ladies and gentlemen, you got to head over to savingabel.com for all of their upcoming music, the brand new single Baptize Me, and check out their tour dates. But I know one thing, Jared, I'm standing in agreement with you guys that this new album is going to be at the top of the charts, and because the music's great. And next year, ladies and gentlemen, you better hold on to your hat and buy the t-shirt. Buy the concert ticket.
Yep, that's great. Yep, absolutely.
Because it's going to be a wild rock and roll ride that you're absolutely going to enjoy with Saving Abel. And Jared, man, you and the guys, I mean, you got to bring the rest of the band on one of these days, but every single one of you are welcome back anytime.
Maybe next time I'll catch you when we're on the tour bus and we can just get everybody in there,
Hey, that would be awesome. And again, ladies and gentlemen, check out one of the best rock songs you're going to hear this year, Baptize Me. I mean, like I said, they're going from Addicted to Baptize Me. I mean, coming out of the water, what else could you ask for? I mean, hey, if you're going to feel clean, feel clean. But I can tell you one thing, this is the second coming of Saving Abel. And, man, I'm looking forward to everything you guys are doing.
Man, thank you so much for having us today, man. I'm very grateful to have the invitation, man. If any way I can spread joy and the good news, man, and thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Saving Abel heads over to Houston, Texas one of these days. I'm buying a ticket.
We'll be there.
I'm going to be in the crowd, and I'm going to be wearing my Saving Abel t-shirt just with the rest of the fans. So
I look forward to it, man. I look forward to it.
All right. Thank you again. Thank you, Jared, so much. And ladies and gentlemen, hey, again, go to savingabel.com. And as for me, I'll see you next time.